Right.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Good. Happy New Year. Hope everyone had a great holiday. I'm going to call the meeting to order Tuesday, January 2nd, 2021 at 10 a.m. Mr. Clerk, would you roll call for me, please?
Good morning. This is the roll call for the January 12th regular council meeting. The Honorable William Bill Edwards, Mayor.
Here.
The Honorable Catherine F. Ryle, District 1.
Present.
The Honorable Carmelita Gums, District 2.
Present.
The Honorable Helen Z. Willis, District 3.
Present.
The Honorable Naima Gilliard, District 4. The Honorable Corey A. Reeves, District 5.
Accountable.
The Honorable Councilmember Khalid, District 6. And the Honorable Mark Baker, District 7.
Present.
Mr. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Okay.
I'm present. I'm present.
Thank you, Councilmember Gilliard.
Okay, before I bring the chaplain up for the invocation, let me say a couple of things. It was with deep remorse that we inform you that Mr. Valenzuela lost his mother today. As many of you know, she was in hospice and she transitioned today. So I want to let you know that. The second thing I want you to know is that one of our friends and our colleague who has helped us out in many situations, especially in terms of the South Fulton tornado, Mayor Elizabeth Hurst. Her daughter died after a long fight with cancer. So I pray that Mayor, the chaplain, include those in the prayers. Thank you. Mr. Chaplain.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. And to council, God bless you all. Let us pray. Dear gracious God, we begin this year as we ended it, in your presence, under your grace. We lift up those lives right now and the families that the mayor just mentioned before you. Give them the strength that's needed to endure. So God, as we move forward and as we look with great anticipation in 2021, your wisdom, your knowledge has always been appreciated. We ask you to continue to do what you have done, because you've done it once, we know you'll do it again. So with an attitude of gratitude, we thank you for our leadership. We thank you for our vision and all that will be done in 2021. We give you praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chaplain. Mr. Clerk.
The next item is item 5, adoption of council agenda.
I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we adopt the regular council agenda for Tuesday, January 12th, 2021, 10 a.m.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been properly moved and second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Let's vote, please.
Roll call vote. Councilmember Ryle.
Yes.
Councilmember Gums.
Yes.
Councilmember Willis.
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard.
Yes.
Councilmember Reeves.
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid.
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, that motion was approved.
Okay, next item, please.
Next item is approval of city council meeting minutes, work session minutes for December 8th, 2020.
I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve city council city council meeting minutes for the work session of December 8th and also the regular meeting minutes for the December 8th. Second.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Let's vote, please, Mr. Clerk.
Roll call vote. Councilmember Ryle.
Yes.
Councilmember Gums.
Yes.
Councilmember Willis.
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard.
Yes.
Councilmember Reeves.
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid. Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
That motion was approved.
Okay, next item, sir.
Next item is public hearings. Item 3, request council approval of alcohol license for public store number 1718, located at 5829 Campbellton Road, Suite 110, Atlanta, Georgia 30331. The police department.
Staff,
Yes, Mayor and Council, how's everyone doing today?
good.
The Publix on Campbellton has met, they've applied and they've met all of the necessary requirements to be considered for this application for alcohol permits, and we present it before the body for consideration.
Okay. I'll open up the floor for public hearing. Anybody for or against this? Do you have anything, Mr. Adams?
No, sir, there were no public comments submitted for this item.
Okay, I'll close public hearing. I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the alcohol license for the Publix at Campbellton Road.
Second.
Properly moved in second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Roll call vote. Councilmember Rao.
Yes.
Councilmember Gums.
Yes.
Councilmember Willis.
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard.
Abstain.
Councilmember Reeves.
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid. Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
That motion was approved.
Next item, please.
Next item is public hearing, zoning case Z20-003. Request council approval to consider a rezoning from AG1 to SH for property located at 3825 and 3895 Jonesboro Road for the purpose of developing a senior living facility. Staff.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. For your review today, we have 2 carryover cases from the previous month, so I will do my best to be a good steward of everyone's time. We can go to the next slide, please. The petitioner here seeks to rezone 2 parcels from AG1 to SH for the intention of building a senior housing apartment. This is an experienced developer, and it will fulfill a need in the city. I will make a note that this particular request is not in direct compliance with the future land use plan. However, the future land use plan for this area does call for residential development, and this is another type of residential development. Staff recommendation here is approval, and the Planning Commission also voted for approval at a meeting last year. Go to the next slide, please. These next 2 slides are just maps showing the zoning and aerial map of where the parcels are located. You can see the dot on the Google aerial on the right shows the parcel at a bend in the road on Jonesboro near the intersection of Peters Road. On the left, you can see the zoning map showing that it is AG1 in the city of South Fulton. We can go to the next slide, please. And this would be the same for the adjacent parcel. As I said, this is 2 parcels seeking to be rezoned for this development. We can go to the next slide. This parcel here shows, and we do have a more updated map since this one, but there is now a emergency access off of Jonesboro Road at the entrance to this development. One of the big discussions has been the placement of a traffic light or traffic calming device at the intersection of Jonesboro and Peters Road. And I do have a condition that has been submitted to for this case to be read into the record. And I would like to just go ahead and read that now. The condition is the issuance of the land development permit shall be conditioned on the city of South Fulton receiving the following. A, written confirmation from the Georgia Department of Transportation, GDOT, that GDOT has approved the installation of a traffic light or other intersection control device, traffic device, at the intersection of Jonesboro Road and Peters Road, which installation shall be scheduled for, on or before December 31st, 2022, or B, written confirmation from GDOT approving the applicant's installation of a traffic light at the intersection of Jonesboro Road and Peters Road at a cost not to exceed $260,000 on or before December 31st, 2022. And what that says is that the applicant has agreed to fund the installation of a traffic light at the intersection of Jonesboro and Peters at the entrance to this development. And we can go to the next slide, please. This is just a rendering of what the development may look like. And I know the petitioners are on this call to make public comment.
Okay, I'll open up the public comment. Is the developer here?
I know Michelle is on the call. I see her.
Ms. Battle, would you please unmute yourself?
Sorry about that. I forgot to turn off my mute. Good morning. This is Michelle Battle with Battle Law, 1 West Court Square, Decatur, Georgia, 30030. We have gone through this case a number of times. The last time that we were here, we were delayed with regards to trying to determine when GDOT was going to, in fact, install the light at the intersection of Jonesboro and Peters Road. Since that time, we've had the opportunity to meet with GDOT as well as have other conversations. The developer volunteered to actually pay for the installation of the light if GDOT fails to do so by December of 2022. GDOT is completing its process, but either way, we will not be issued a land disturbance permit until this issue has been resolved. Either with GDOT installing the light itself again by December of 2022, or alternatively, we will have to pull a permit and go through the process to have the developer actually pay for the installation of the light. We believe that this is a wonderful solution to this issue and make sure that the citizens of the city of South Fulton are safe and that the new residents would also be safe turning in and out of this community. We believe that this is an excellent opportunity to provide quality senior housing in the area, and we would appreciate the approval of this application subject to the additional condition proposed by the developer. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Ms. Battle. Is there anyone in opposition, Mr. Clerk?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, there was one comment received in opposition to this case. That comment was submitted by Mr. Michael Venable, who lives on Montilly Circle in South Fulton, Georgia, District 6. I am strongly encouraging this council to deny the rezoning of the property related to Z20-003. The proposal does not comply with the land use plan, and having city officials and administration support, it gives all residents no reason to fully comply with any law or ordinance in this city. Just as leaders supported insurrection in the government last week for what their heart thought was right, our heads should guide us to do what we know is proper. Right now, a similar density issue with some senior housing is being debated on the other side of this city, and the attitude is just blatantly different. Currently, residential communities in the Old National area cannot get mail because parking problems are blocking mailbox access. Units were crammed into small spaces as quantity was emphasized and quality was an afterthought. I mean, no thought. I remember distinctly arguing in front of the Fulton County Commission that all of the newer subdivisions violated land use policy due to density. These properties exceeded density up to 50%, and now residents are suffering and violated land use policy due to the density. These properties exceeded density up to 50%, and now residents are suffering, and everybody's just looking around perplexed. If there was even some extenuating circumstance whereby land use policy should be altered, it would at least be debatable. There is a senior housing density premium, and this proposal still exceeds it. The safety issue, logistics, quality of life problems, the socioeconomic polarization, and the land use policy make this rezoning unjustifiable. That completes the public comment.
Okay, Ms. Battle, do you have a rebuttal?
Council member, we believe, Mayor, sorry, we believe that this proposed project is suitable. We are on a major thoroughfare with regards to Jonesboro Road. We are in an area that is immediately adjacent to Union City. This project is really on the fringe, so to speak, of the city of South Fulton. We are not in a area that has high density in terms of surrounding uses. In fact, this property is adjacent to other property that is zoned AG1 that is currently up for sale. We are on the other side of power lines that kind of separate this area from, there's actually a buffer between this community and the power line, should I say. But we are in an area that quite honestly is not a very intensely developed area that is currently going through development. So we believe that this project is appropriate for the location with the density that is proposed. And we, again, respectfully request the approval of the application. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Battle. I'm gonna close public hearing. I think this is Mr. Baker. Am I correct?
Yes, sir, it is. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If you would, Mr. Mayor, allow Director Reed to chime in on this item. I know we've had a call with the developer, with Ms. Battle, with you. I appreciate your involvement in it as well. And there was a additional call that you weren't a part of that I would like Director Reed to share at this time.
Director Reed, I allow you to go in. I wonder where you were on the public hearing, but go ahead.
Good morning, Mayor and Council, and thank you, Councilman Baker, for allowing me to have an opportunity to speak on this project. As mentioned, we've met multiple times on this project, particularly with the developer, as well as GDOT, Department of Transportation. We've had this discussion, and it has been noted that the area does need, or particularly the transition, the actual particular sorry, I can't speak today. The particular area intersection does need to have a traffic, I guess, improvement done in that area. GDOT can't warrant what exactly that will be, but they do know that they are leaning towards it being a traffic light, as they use the word warrants. So it does warrant a traffic improvement there with a traffic light. I want to first put on note that, or put in the record, that this is one of the very few times where you'll see the Department of Transportation, developers, and City Council working together to bring a resolve to an area. This has been our first particular time in South Fulton where we've actually seen this connection and this partnership. So I want to thank Councilman Baker for being instrumental in that discussion and allowing for us to work through some of these issues and pulling some pieces apart so that the developer, as well as the residents who will soon live there, if adopted and approved, will have a, I guess, safety measure at the first component of construction. So with that being said, this was a great project to be a part of on the planning side, just to see how governments work together. So with that being said, the developer has agreed to pay for the installation. GDOT has given us word that in the next month or so, they will confirm that it will either be a traffic light or some other device. And with that, I definitely believe that the condition will be suitable for this particular rezoning request. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilman Baker.
Thank you. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve based off staff recommendation and those guidelines that she just specified.
Second.
Been properly moved in second. Any discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I'm having problems getting into Novus, so that's why I'm not in Novus. I just wanted to ask Ms. Reed a question. I want to know whether or not this project is in line with the land use plan or not.
So thank you for asking that question. So currently, no, it is not. However, staff has evaluated where this particular area is going in regards to land development. We are currently in the process of starting our future land use map amendment with the comprehensive plan adoption that will soon come. This is an area where we are seeing where there is some transition of land use changes. So we will be proposing there to be some level of change within that particular map. It will be the city of South Fulton's first land use map adoption in regards to what the council wishes to see out there.
Okay, all right.
Ms. Mayor, I'm having the same deal with Novus. Can I make ask a question to Ms. Reed?
Let me just, Ms. Gilliard, are you satisfied?
Yeah, I'm satisfied.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Reed.
Ms. Reed, I just want to let you know, the comprehensive plan used is coming up for adoption. They're gonna have a series of public involvement. Do you know the start of that date, and do y'all have the dates for the comprehensive use plan public involvement?
Yes, sir. So we are currently meeting with the Atlanta Regional Commission. At your last meeting, you agreed to allow for them to be the conductors or authors of your upcoming plan. And so we're meeting with them to develop a calendar. Once that calendar is created, we're going to work directly with the Department of Communications to ensure that this language gets out to the public and posted on our website, social media, you name it. So that information will be shared very soon.
Okay, and so and one question, can we allow for that, but prior to the dates to be at least 14 or 15 days out for communication to have, so we can make sure that the public is involved in that manner, and so they
absolutely.
have proper communication? Okay.
Yes, sir. I believe that is the way that our communication department communicates, and if not, I'll make sure that I put that out as a direct request. Yes, sir. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
We have a motion on the floor by Mr. Baker. I think it was seconded by Councilwoman Rao.
Yes, sir. You ready for the vote?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes. Mr. Clerk.
Real quick, I just wanted to say this, and I don't think there was any opposition from anyone in our district who submitted any comments. This has been a long process. This also has been something that my community has been in favor for some time, having come. Senior housing is something that is needed throughout the city. There's so many people who have moved on and needed places to stay who are South Fulton residents that have been here, and their children have moved on and they still want to stay in this area that they know and love, but they don't have the places to do it or the money to pull it off properly. I understand the dynamic that it once had where we gave the pushback, but never in the history of our city have we come across something like this where we've been able to push back to the point where people have come with things that we haven't been in favor of, and we've had a solution like this. Okay. I mean, there's been lives lost at Peters Road in 138. So I understood the reasoning behind having this deferred, and working with Ms. Battle and Director Reed and our planning committee to, as well as GDOT, like as difficult as that is sometimes to get them to work in tandem with us, we've actually been able to pull this off, and to have $260,000 allotted for a light will save lives as well as bring what is needed. When I knocked on doors 4 years ago now, running for office after listening to what was needed. And I thank everybody who came together to help bring this to be a possibility. And I'm asking for everyone's vote. And thank you too, Mayor, for arranging that call earlier a couple weeks ago.
Mayor, I'm in the queue.
Go right ahead, Ms. Willis, and we'll vote after Ms. Willis. I
just want to remind constituents that we talked about the results of our economic development strategic plan, and the data yielded that the senior population is one of the fastest growing populations in the city. And what we do not have is enough senior housing and senior amenities. We are losing our seniors to other communities that have senior amenities. Again, I welcome this development. I welcome more senior development. We This has been deferred for over a month, and we have given residents ample opportunity in Councilmember Baker's to voice their concern, voice their any opinions. And as he stated, he has not received any pushback. And so I would ask that we move forward with this development as well, because it is senior housing, much needed senior housing in our community. Thank you.
Mr. Clerk?
Yes, sir. This is a roll call vote. It's a motion by Councilmember Baker, seconded by Councilmember Rao, to approve the rezoning case Z20-003 with the condition that a written confirmation from the Georgia Department of Transportation has approved the installation of a traffic light or other intersection control device at the intersection at Jonesboro Road and Peters Road, which installation shall be scheduled for on or before December 31st, 2022, or B, written confirmation from the Georgia Department of Transportation approving the applicant's installation of a traffic light at the intersection of Jonesboro Road and Peters Road at a cost not to exceed $250,000 on or before December 31st, 2022. Roll call vote. Councilmember Rao.
Yes.
Councilmember Gums.
Yes.
Councilmember Willis.
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard. Councilmember Reeves.
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid.
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
Yes.
Thank you, Councilmember Gilliard. That motion was approved unanimously.
Next item, please.
Next item is item 5, public hearing, M20-002. Request council approval to consider a modification for Bedford Estates located off Camp Creek for the purpose of removing an entrance gate requirement. Staff?
All right, we can go right to the next slide, please. And I will talk through this, and it will be easier to explain once we get to the site plans. The development you'll see was originally platted as phase 2 of a CUP. The original conditions called for gating. The connection that you'll see is not feasible due to topography of the site. When phase 2 came online, the conditions were not modified. So the condition is being, or the gating rather, is being changed, that phase 2 will connect to phase 5. And you'll see a second emergency access point as well to the new area of constructions. In effect, as you'll see on the site plans, if the gate requirement remains, the development will be separated and completely isolated from other sections of this development. And the recommendation here is for approval. We can go to the next slide. Showing you the location of where this development is. There was no address on Google Maps for this site, but if you look at the aerial map, it is the large wooded undeveloped plot in the very center of the aerial map you see. And on the zoning map on the left, you'll see the parcel outlined in blue. We can go to the next slide. This was the original concept for the development. In the middle of the screen, there's a thick black line and a skinny road connecting the upper part and the lower part. That's the area we should focus on, one section. The other areas to focus on are at the lower middle of the map, there's a road coming in. And if you look at the street that runs parallel to that road coming in right to the left of it, you'll see there's no street in there, just a row of houses. And if you go to the next slide, you will see at the upper part, the same black line is there. The connection is now no longer there due to the topography. You'll see a creek area in the middle of the screen where the black line is surrounding that. You'll see at the lower part, there is a gate there, which will be the entrance to this facility, or this development rather. And over on the left is a new emergency access with a lockbox that will connect to an already constructed part of the development here. So the gating that is being removed is the one at the bottom of the screen here. And I believe, I know Michelle is the petitioner or the representative for this petitioner as well, and she'll be able to speak at the public hearing.
Okay, I'll open up the public hearing. Michelle, did you want to say something?
Michelle Battle with Battle Law, 1 West Court Square, Decatur, Georgia, 30030. Council members, you may remember and recall this particular project, which we started quite a few years ago. It was, this technically is phase 2 of the Camp Creek Village community. That community is currently, phase 1 is currently under construction and is a gated community. In the zoning conditions that were modified back in 2018, there was a condition that actually indicated that there could be no connection between phase 1 and phase 2. With regards to phase 2, we are looking to commence construction. And as it turns out, Century Communities has desires to actually acquire this particular phase 2 of what would be Camp Creek to include it as phase 5 of their Bedford Estates community. We had the opportunity after the last council meeting to meet with the community. We know that the community has had a number of challenges with Century that had gone unresponded to. And in order to help facilitate that, although I don't represent Century Communities, I'm representing the developer and not the builder on this particular project. It's simply under contract with that with Century. We did help facilitate having a community meeting in which we made sure that the representatives from Century were present in order to respond and answer the questions that had been raised by the community. Council member Gumps was a part of that, and I have also helped facilitate making sure that there is follow-up from that community meeting where higher up representatives from Century will be contacting Council member Gumps in order to continue to work through the challenges that they have found. I know that Century is very focused on rectifying the challenges that have been faced with Bedford Estates. But with that said, this particular project is simply here to remove the gate. There are amenities that will be within this community. There will be a multi-use field and other amenities that will be proposed by Century as they continue to move through this process of integrating the communities. And there will also be a separate mail kiosk for this community as well. So the gate here does not facilitate anything other than putting the developer in the position of having to have private streets, which would have to be maintained by the community, which makes it a much more challenging HOA and other challenges faced by having the gate. So we are respectfully requesting the removal of the gate. And if you have any questions, we are here to answer. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, is anyone else in favor?
No, sir, Mr. Mayor, we did not receive any public comment regarding this item.
Okay, then I'll close the public hearing. Ms. Gums?
I'd like to make a motion to go ahead and approve zoning item M20-002 Bedford Estates Phase 2.
Second.
Been properly moved by Ms. Gums, and second, I think, by whom? I think it was
Ms. Willis, Councilmember Willis.
Councilman Willis. Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's vote, please.
It's a roll call vote. Councilmember Rao,
Yes.
Councilmember Gums,
Yes.
Councilmember Willis,
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard,
Yes.
Councilmember Reeves,
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid,
Nay.
Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
That motion was approved 6-1.
Okay, next item, please.
Next item is public comment. Mr. Mayor and members of council, we received 3 public comment cards for this meeting. The first comment comes from Michael Carson, who lives in South Fulton, District 1. Dear Mayor and Council, in August 2020, my father, who was a smoker for years, passed as a result of lung cancer. Further, other family members, friends, and acquaintances have also succumbed to lung cancer and heart disease. I, on the other hand, have never been a smoker of any substance, loathe being the recipient of secondhand smoke, and believe all people deserve a smoke-free workplace, and for that matter, a smoke-free environment. Secondhand smoke is linked to heart disease and cancer and is unhealthy for our residents, visitors, and workers. I want to make sure my family and our friends are protected from secondhand smoke wherever we are in the city of South Fulton. Please do the right thing by supporting and strengthening the city's smoke-free ordinance. Thank you. The next comment is from Mr. Gregory A. Bowden, who lives on Yarborough in District 4. Mayor and council members of the city of South Fulton, I am Dr. Gregory Bowden, living in the 4th District of the city of South Fulton. Today, I offer my support for the passage of the enhanced secondhand smoke protection for my fellow neighbors and friends. For years, the tobacco industry has targeted the people of African descent, causing more than 47,000 tobacco-related deaths each year. We also know that smoking weakens the immune system and has caused worse health outcomes for those infected with COVID-19. We all deserve to live in an environment free of the 7,000 chemicals, with at least 69 of these chemicals known to cause cancer, and many are toxic. Because of the population of our community, it is also important to note that almost 90% of a smoker of African descent smoke methanol and other flavored cigarettes. This causes our community to have even worse health outcomes. It is our duty to work to protect all the citizens and guests of the city of South Fulton. It is our hope that this will also help attract businesses that are looking to be established in our healthy city. This is a great opportunity to promote our healthy city, create new opportunities in our smoke-free and family-friendly establishments, and help our citizens by promoting smoke cessation programs for those that want to quit smoking. As a final note, I'd like to remind the council that the Georgia Quit line is available 7 days a week, 24 hours a day for anyone. And I'd like to remind the council that for anyone over the age of 13, provides nicotine replacement therapy for anyone over the age of 18 at 1-877-270-STOP. Thank you for your time and consideration. And the last public comment is from Ms. Sojourner Marable Grimmett, who lives on Jack and R Lane in District 2. I believe all people deserve a smoke-free workplace. Secondhand smoke is linked to heart disease and cancer and is unhealthy for our residents, visitors, and workers. Please vote to strengthen the current ordinance to support a smoke-free city. So Mayor and Council, that completes the public comment.
Okay, next item, please.
Next item.
Mayor, I'm requesting for a point of personal privilege, please. I sent you a text as well.
What is your personal privilege?
I first of all would like to wish everybody a happy new year and to remind all that this month is Human Trafficking Awareness Month. To commemorate that, I will be hosting a Human Trafficking Community Ambassador virtual training on January 19th, Tuesday at 6 p.m. And I'm asking all residents to go ahead and register for that. That information will be provided via the city website, and I have sent it out via my newsletter. And if you don't get my newsletter, please check the city website. It is important that we all be vigilant. This is a major issue in Metro Atlanta. We're in the top 5. And if you see something, say something. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Clerk?
Yes, sir. The next item is the consent agenda. And there are items 6 through 16 on the consent agenda. Would you like me to read them, Mayor?
Has everybody been given the information on the consent agenda, right?
Yes, I think we can vote on that, sir.
Yes.
And yes, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the consent agenda for Tuesday, January 12th at 10 a.m.
Second.
The properly moved and second, moved by Mr. Willis, Councilwoman Willis, and second by Councilman Reeves. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, let's vote, please.
Yes, roll call vote to approve the consent agenda, items 6 through 16. Councilmember Rao,
Yes.
Councilmember Gums,
Yes.
Councilmember Willis,
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard,
No.
Councilmember Reeves,
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid,
No.
Councilmember Baker, Mr. Mayor and Council, that item was approved. 4-1.
Aye. I'm sorry, I was muted.
All right, thank you. That item is approved at 5-2.
Next item, please.
Next item is previous agenda items, item 17. Second reading and request council approval of the FY21 Budget Amendment Number 1 ordinance. Ms. City Manager?
Yes, good morning, Mayor and Council. As the clerk mentioned, this is a second read, and we are asking the council to approve the fiscal 2021 budget amendment, first budget amendment. And that is basically what we are requesting today. If anyone has any questions, I do have our controller available if you have any specific questions, but this item was discussed during last month's council meeting. Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the second read for the fiscal year 21 budget amendment number 1 ordinance.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Rao, second by Councilwoman Willis. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's vote, please.
Roll call vote. Councilmember Rao,
Yes.
Councilmember Gums,
Yes.
Councilmember Willis,
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard,
Yes.
Councilmember Reeves,
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid, Councilmember Baker,
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid. You said nay?
No, I said I abstain.
All right, thank you. That item is approved.
Next item, please.
Next item is second reading and request council approval of an amended smoking ordinance. This item is sponsored by council members Rao, Gums, Reeves, and Baker.
Anybody from that quartet want to speak?
Yes, I just want to say that I'm happy about this ordinance. I just want to make sure that change to was done to 20%. Ms. Walker, can you verify that?
Yes, so council member, if that change will be subject to the council just giving me authorization. So if you'd like to make a motion, I have 2 requests. And the first would be that the motion be to approve the ordinance with the addition of the 20% language for hookahs that you're referencing, as well as the addition of the words "or heated" to the smoking definition. And this was a request that also came in from the American Lung Association. And it's just providing clarity to the definition of smoking.
Okay.
I second the amendment. I get a second for the amendment to the language in the current ordinance.
Let me let a council person make that motion first.
Yes, right. And so, yeah, I want to move the motion that we accept those changes from 75% to the 20% and to the definition defining the word up there, heated, that was provided by the American Heart Association.
Okay, Mr. Reeves, is there
a comment?
I
have a comment.
Just one moment, please.
Okay.
It's been motion by Mr. Reeves, seconded by Councilwoman Rao. Discussion. Now you can speak, Ms. Gilliard.
Okay, thank you. My name was left off the ordinance. The American Association contacted me, asked me for support, and I had a very meaningful conversation with them. So I want to make sure that my name is added to the ordinance.
I'm sure that can be happening with no objection to any of the four. We'll add Ms. Gilliard's name to the
Mayor,
yes. Yes, ma'am.
my name is in the queue. I'm sorry, my Zoom went out.
Well, don't worry about it. I'm trying to keep all this queued up as much as I
Okay.
can. Go ahead. Go ahead, Ms. Willis. Did you?
Yes, so I would like to be added as a sponsor as well. I was contacted early on about this ordinance by Mr. Franklin to give my input and feedback. A healthy environment is what we all need. Thank you for leading this effort, Councilmember Reeves and Councilmember Reeves. The Councilmember Reeves has been talking to me about the smoke ordinance since he has been elected. So this is very important to the city. We have a lot of air pollution just because where we're situated with a lot of the warehousing. And so I appreciate that the city is taking this step in the right direction to make sure that we have to minimize smoke in our environment. And again, please add me as a co-sponsor to this ordinance.
I think that we can do that. Anyone else would like to be added to this ordinance? If not,
I think it would be wonderful if it could be a unanimous and we have all council members. I think that would definitely speak volumes to the city and what we're trying to do as in promoting a smoke-free city.
I concur, Councilwoman Gomes. I sincerely concur with that.
Read that, I acknowledge you, but that's okay. If there's anyone else who would like to be added to this document, let me know now. Hearing no one else, Mr. Clerk, would you go ahead with the motion?
Yes, this is a motion to approve. The motion by Councilmember Reeves, seconded by Councilmember Rao, to approve this item with the following amendments, to add co-sponsorship of Councilmember Gilliard, Councilmember Willis, to go with Councilmember Rao, Councilmember Gomes, Councilmember Reeves, and Councilmember Baker. The amendments were to change the language from 75% to 20% regarding hookahs, and to change the definition of heated as stated by the city attorney. This is a roll call vote. Councilmember Rao,
Yes.
Councilmember Gomes,
Yes.
Councilmember Willis,
Ms. Willis, you muted.
Councilmember Willis,
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard,
Yes.
Even when they fall out, he does good subtraction, though. He just subtracts from it.
Councilmember Reeves,
He had 1,000, I got the 99.
Can we please ask?
What's going on?
Is that Chaplain Henry, Mr.?
yeah, he's been muted.
Okay, go ahead.
Councilmember Reeves,
Aye, sir.
Councilmember Khalid,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
That item was approved.
Okay, next item, please.
Next item is item 19, second reading and request council approval of an investor harassment ordinance. This is sponsored by Councilmember Baker.
Mr. Baker, go ahead.
Attorney Walker, will you please just give the Cliff Notes version of the detail?
Yes, so this item was actually an initiative that has been taken up by other jurisdictions too, particularly the city of Atlanta. And it's part of a joint local government effort to just put some type of restrictions and regulations in place to limit the amount of phone calls that are made to people soliciting, for investment purposes or for property purposes. So It's just a very basic general harassment prohibition that's put in place where there can be, just liability.
Right. And I
for
think that
non-compliant.
Go ahead, Mr.
thanks,
Baker.
thanks, Attorney Walker. This is something that I came to Attorney Walker about. I know I have several residents who complain when we have our meetings or whenever we have an opportunity to get together. They were at one point talking about the harassment of individuals who are investors seeking to purchase their homes for them. And many of them are seniors and don't plan on moving, but it also kind of attests to the value of the property and why, but the value of the property in our city. So all of these investors, they want to purchase your property because of the things that are happening in our city and things around our city. However, many seniors, they probably don't, like, they think that we're raising the taxes, but the value of their houses are actually going up and they're not happy with it. Those individuals who want to age in place and don't plan on selling their homes and don't want their taxes to go up. But nonetheless, more than that dynamic, the harassment of those, especially home during the day, has gotten to be really, really out of hand and unwanted. So that's the purpose of bringing this forward, and I hope everyone agrees with me and votes to pass it, because it'll be a relief to those residents. Harassment, again, is anything that's unwanted. So if you're getting that call and you want to sell your home or you want to be a part of that, that's fine. But when it's unwanted, meaning it's been noted that you don't want to receive that type of pressure, then it shouldn't happen and it shouldn't continue to happen.
Thank you, Mr. Baker. I think this is good legislation. Any further comment?
Yes, I have a comment.
Go ahead.
I'm really glad, Mr. Baker, that you brought this forward. And I don't even know why I didn't think about it. I get numerous mail about selling my house and phone calls from people all over the country. And it really is harassment and it's really a pain. So thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Any other comments? Hearing none, let's have a vote, please. Is there a motion? Mr. Clerk?
There's not a motion yet.
I apologize. I'd like to make a motion to approve this.
I move that we approve this measure.
Second.
Okay.
Second.
As I hear it, I think Mr. Baker made the motion, seconded by Mrs. Willis. Let's vote, please.
Roll call vote. Councilmember Rao.
Yes.
Councilmember Gums.
Yes.
Councilmember Willis.
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard.
Definitely yes.
Councilmember Reeves.
Absolutely aye.
Councilmember Khalid.
Can you hear me?
We can't.
You're very low.
What was your vote? Yes or no?
Can you hear me? Because I've been asking to speak and I'm in the.
No, we can't. I don't know what the audio is bad, Mr. Khalid.
Okay, so my vote.
We cannot hear you, Mr. Khalid.
Ms. Khalid, we could not hear you. You went out.
He says yes.
He voted in the chat, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Councilmember Baker.
Aye. Thank you.
That motion was approved unanimously.
Okay, next item, please.
The next item is second reading. Request council approval of street racing ordinance. This item is sponsored by Council Members Rao and Reeves.
Mr. Rao or Mr. Reeves?
Yes. Go ahead.
Go ahead. This piece of legislation is in response to numerous complaints that we've heard about street racing, primarily along Fulton Industrial, but we also don't want that to trickle into our city. As you know, the city of Atlanta has passed aggressive legislation in this area and created a unit to address streetcar racing. We don't want it to come into our city. And so this is an effort to put a ordinance in place that will address people who engage in streetcar racing.
Absolutely, and I agree with that. And they come down an area down here on flat shows, and sometimes in down Old National Highway in certain sections. And so we just want to put this ordinance in place so that when enforcement hits, they will be subject to those penalties, and also to stop it altogether in this city. And so I'm proud of this ordinance.
Well, thank you, Councilman Reeves and Councilwoman Rao. Is there any other comments?
Yes, I'm in the queue.
Go ahead.
Mayor, are you recognizing the queue today?
It's not working over here. I'm doing the best.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Good.
I would like to thank my colleagues, Councilmember Rao and Councilmember Reeves, for bringing this measure before the council. We have had our battle in District 3 with this issue, with a few drag racing in front of Walkmore Park, which has made media. We have a few incidents going down South Fulton Parkway as well. This sends a clear message that the city of South Fulton is not going to tolerate behavior like this. And I wholeheartedly support this measure. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all very much, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Mayor.
Or is that Mr. Baker?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Right here, William Baker, and then we'll vote.
Yes, I wanted to just state my support, and I will show that through my vote in the affirmative. However, I just really want to make sure, or want to at least acknowledge the fact that we're trying to target those individuals who come to our area to drag race, and I hope that it doesn't veer out of control with the dynamic of the quick takeoff, or I really trusted that our police department utilized this ordinance with the right discretion, this resolution with the right discretion, and I'll just leave it there.
Okay, thank you, sir. Let's vote, please.
I make a motion to approve the streetcar ordinance.
Second.
Streetcar race.
I thought we had a motion, but it was been made by Councilwoman Rao, second by Councilman Reeves. Let's vote, please.
So roll call vote to approve. Councilmember Rao.
Yes.
Councilmember Gums.
Yes.
Councilmember Willis.
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard.
Yes.
Councilmember Reeves.
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid. Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
That motion was approved.
Okay, next item, please, Mr. Clerk.
Next item is new agenda items. Item 21, request council approval of council meeting schedule for 2021, version 2.
Okay. Any comment? Ms. Willis, go ahead.
I move that we approve the adoption of council meeting schedule for 2021.
Second.
Properly moved by Ms. Willis and second by Mr. Gums. Any discussion? Hearing none. Vote, please.
Roll call vote. Councilmember Rao.
Yes.
Councilmember Gums.
Yes.
Councilmember Willis.
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard.
Yes.
Councilmember Reeves.
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid. Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
That item was approved.
Okay, next item, please.
Next item is item 22. Request council approval of a resolution authorizing a change order in the amount of $449,900 and $449,900 for additional work to remove unsuitable material underneath the Cascade Road over branch of Utoy Bridge.
Before we go there, Mr. Adams, would you let me know if there's anything that I overlooked as we move forward?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go right ahead. Your comment? Ms. Rao, I think that's your.
This is Public Works. I don't have the details other than I know that they encountered some issues
Okay.
with the installation.
Is anyone here from Public Works?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, I'm here. My name's Anu here, Anu
Hey,
Sasavath.
good hearing. Okay, go ahead.
Good morning, Mayor and Council, City Manager. As you're aware, the project is currently underway. During the excavation portion of the project, we've experienced some unforeseen conditions there. The soil samples we're taking and the results from that geotechnical results show that existing soil currently on site was not suitable to provide the adequate compaction for the bottomless con span structure that we're putting in place. Test results that was recommended by the geotechnical team requested us to excavate 18 to 20 feet of that unsuitable material that's currently on site. That the additional amount for this change order will be for the removal of the unsuitables, backfilling with the compacted stone to meet the specs of that footing. This initial scope of work was not in our initial scope of services, part of our initial contract. That's why we're making that request today for that additional change order for that $449,900.
Okay. Any other comments?
Mayor, this is Tammy Sadler-Jones. I did want to also add that as a result of this change order, the construction schedule will be extended an additional 60 days from notice to proceed. So I want to make sure that the public is aware of that.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Given that, and we have had so many questions, I'm requesting that the city manager and the communication staff provide an update to the public regarding this project.
Yes, ma'am, we can do that.
I think that is absolutely necessary. I think that citizens have suffered through this for a long period of time, and we need to get it fixed, and we need to get it fixed properly so we don't have any issues in the future. All right, any other comments? Hearing none, Mr. Clerk. Do we have a motion? Don't remember.
No motion yet.
I make a motion to approve the change order for the Cascade Road over a branch of Utoy Creek Bridge.
Second.
Been properly moved by Councilwoman Rao and seconded by Councilwoman Gum. Any discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's vote, please, Clerk.
Roll call vote. Councilmember Rao.
Yes.
Councilmember Gums.
Yes.
Councilmember Willis.
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard.
Yes.
Councilmember Reeves.
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid. Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid.
Yeah, sorry, I was having. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we hear you a lot better. Thank you. That item was approved unanimously.
Okay. Next item.
Next item is item 23, discussion, transportation, special purpose, local option sales tax, T-Splosh, and MARTA funding. Mayor Edwards.
Okay, there's been a lot of discussion lately with the 14 mayors of the city of Fulton County as to what we're going to do is change T-Splosh funding. And
point of order, Mayor.
Yes.
Mayor, can you request for people to mute their because it's a lot of feedback.
Will you please mute your there it goes. Thank you so much. And the 14 mayors have been, along with the county, has been talking about options that we would like to see in terms of T-Splosh and funding. We know that T-Splosh is very, very important to our city because it helps us to fund those transportation and infrastructure things that we solely needed. And we have been the recipient of T-Splosh for a number of years. At this time, I have, I think David Clark is in there. Am I correct, Mr. Adams?
Yes, Mr. Clark is on the call.
And someone else is there too?
Yes.
David Clark and?
David Clark.
And Eric Bozeman should be on, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, Eric Bozeman.
Go ahead, Mr. Clark, and kind of give me let them synopsis as to where we are at this time.
Sure. And Eric will be able to help fill in some of the gaps that I may overlook. But basically, as most everybody knows, the current T-SPLOST stays fully funded and collections will continue through March 31st of 2022. We are now pursuing options to renew that with a vote of the voters in Fulton County outside of the city of Atlanta in November of 2021. And in order for us to do that, we've kind of developed a couple of different scenarios. And so, Clerk, could you move the screen, the newsletter to the next page? Yeah, perfect. There you go. And so in order to meet that November 2021 timeline, we need to have the county call for the resolution at least 90 days before the vote. So that is August 2nd. And if you remember when we did this in the past, we had each individual city enter into a IGA with the county 30 days before the Board of Commissioners for Fulton County adopted that resolution. So that means the IGA needs to be done in July of this year. Before the IGA can be developed, we need a list of projects that each of the cities are expecting to do with the T-SPLOST funds. And that was done usually in June of before the July IGA. And then in order, obviously, for the cities to develop the list of projects they wanted to do, they needed to develop them, have their own public participation, and collect the type of information they need to make the decision what projects they want included in T-SPLOST. And we think that's about a 3 or 4 month process. So in order to meet the June finalization, we need to start that in February. So that's why the mayors are having the conversation with the board of exactly how the T-SPLOST will be structured, if at all, at the November 2021 referendum date. And on the next page, these are the decisions that are being discussed right now between the mayors, and I think is what Mayor Edwards, you're looking for to have the county or to have the council provide the county some thoughts and direction.
That's correct.
So the first question is, should Fulton County renew the T-SPLOST beyond the March 30th, 2022 expiration date? I think for the most part, everybody's in agreement that it has been a very successful program countywide, and we certainly want to move forward as part of that. If the decision is to move forward, the next question is, should a portion of the funds be used towards transit projects, or should they be more just road and sidewalk and pedestrian and bicycle focused as the current program has been? So if that is the decision not to include transit, then we're expecting the next 5 years we'll also bring in about $500 million or so under the 0.75% T-SPLOST program. So without a transit component, all $500 million would be used by the cities for those transportation related projects, roads, bicycles, and sidewalks for the most part, and would be split up by population just like we did this last time, and that's the 3A. The 3B option is if we wanted to include transit, primarily the South Fulton Parkway for the South Fulton area, we would have to find a way to fund both transit and road projects in the current 0.75%. And right now we're identifying approximately 300 million would go towards transit. That includes the 400 project up north and the South Fulton project down south. And then the remaining 200 million would be split among the cities by population for all those roadway transportation projects. The third option is to go back to the legislators and ask them to do a full 1% for T-SPLOST for Fulton County. That would allow us to have the full $500 million for road projects in all the cities, just like we do under option 3A, plus also provide some additional funding, approximately 200 million for transit projects. I'm sorry, 300 million for the transit projects. So those are the options that we're really looking at. And then depending on which direction the mayors want to give the Board of Commissioners, we would then start that section 4, which is developing the projects list or working directly with the General Assembly members and delegation to visit the the changes necessary to the T-SPLOST legislation. So there's a brief overview of what we're at right now, Mayor Edwards, and we'll be happy to answer any questions.
Just be on alert. We will have some questions. Let me just say this, that the mayors of South Fulton especially would like to have the T-SPLOST as it's always been at the 0.75%. The contention has been whether or not to add the transit. To be very honest with you, there are some people who feel that we don't need the transit, and especially one of my colleagues in Palmetto who has not had bus transportation for quite some time until very recently. MARTA has been included in going to the city of Palmetto. Let me say this to you as it pertains to the projects. We feel that there's two things to be considered. One is a present need as it refers to a future need. The classic example, we would spend tons of money bringing the MARTA BRT down the middle of South Fulton Parkway. The other thought would be that would be a future need based on growth in the area. But we feel that a present need right now would be Roosevelt Highway. And if we're saying if we're going to spend that money and that Roosevelt Highway traverses through 6 of our 8 cities, it has been a conversation with our mayor that maybe we need to use whatever funds we have to fund the present need that we have now. So I'm looking for you all to give me some direction as to where we want to go as a city, in terms of keeping everything the same, or including the MARTA piece, which would be transit. So here's where we are now. And at this point in time, I will entertain comments from Mr. Khalid.
Would it be all right if someone else went first?
Yes, fine. Ms. Willis, go right here.
Yeah, I'd like to go first.
Ms. Willis, what's next?
I need to get in the queue. Let me see it.
I got you.
Councilmember Reed said he wanted to go first. I'll defer to him.
Okay, well, 1, 2, 3. Who gonna go? We'll start with Mr. Reed.
Okay, hey, that's cool because I'm just, as you said, it's just, let's go with the immediate needs right here. And for the edification of the public, the T-SPLOST says what the things and the money that you will pay and that will be allocated to the needs of like sidewalks, street lights. And so when you talk about this, the immediate need does that we have that I like to be addressed specifically to the area I'm representing is that the sidewalks on Jerome Road, the sidewalks on Obill Cook, and the pedestrian bridge on the outside of the bridge along Buffington Road that people travel to, that's heavy pedestrian traffic, and the extension out there from Flat Shows, those lights out there connecting to another municipality, so like let's see the continuation on down. And so those are immediate needs that we have over in our area. And I'm sure that, along with the other, the districts, it's the same need throughout the whole city. So that's all I have to say.
And Mr. Reed, I don't want to be confused. I was just using Roosevelt Highway as an example, but I know there are needs all throughout our city.
Oh, I know, sir. I know. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Ms. Willis?
Roosevelt Highway is a perfect example. Roosevelt Highway is the main street that goes from the city of Atlanta all the way to Palmetto. Roosevelt Highway has a lot of challenges. One of the challenges is that rail that impedes traffic on a continuous basis. Councilmember Reeves and I, we constantly get emails from residents stating how they can't they're late to work, or they're at a standstill for hours because of that train. Now, the train is not going to go anywhere. It's commerce. It's regulated by the federal government. But what we do need to look at for Roosevelt Highway is some overpass infrastructure. If you look at several cities throughout the nation, what they have done is build overpasses to go over the train rail. I know it would probably be too difficult to go underground, build an underground tunnel like the Fairburn area has one. But I would like for us to look at the possibility of building a couple of overpasses so that our community will not be impacted by the commerce. Commerce is necessary. That's not going to go anywhere, but we do need to look at how we can prohibit the impediment of traffic. The other thing is District 3 is in desperate need of lighting, is in desperate need of sidewalks, is in desperate need of crosswalks, and our trails need to be enhanced. I would like to see a combination of, and we can't forget about the future, because as we grow, we will need more transit. And so I would like to see option for I would like to see monies for these transportation projects and something allocated to rail. Because if we forget about the future of transit, it will impact our economic development. We will have problems coding businesses to come to our community if we do not have a good transit plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Willis.
Can I speak?
I have a comment.
Ms. Gideon, I was about to get to you. You're on.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I am looking at option 3C.
Yeah.
What I like about option 3C is that it gives us the ability to do, I think, more balance as it relates to a lot of projects that we have in each and every district. So it allows us to do that. But more importantly, I think even though it might or might not be on the table, but I think Roosevelt Highway is a good example for MARTA, because I think it brings the opportunity of some major redevelopment all the way up from the city of Atlanta through all the cities. And it is an area that needs redevelopment really, really, really bad. And it is very convenient. And so, I mean, for most folks. And in addition to that, as it relates to the other part for the districts, I don't know what happened during this T-SPLOS phase, but only 2 subdivisions in District 4 received money out of this allotment, and only 1 bridge. So we desperately need this upcoming T-SPLOS. We have unpaved roads. We have no sidewalks hardly anywhere. And so we desperately need it. So I can't wait until February when we have the meetings with the community so the communities can come out. And I am going to definitely encourage all of my subdivisions to come out because they desperately need it. Even the one that, you know, I live in, we have sinkholes, and there are sinkholes in a lot of different subdivisions, and their streets were not topped properly, and there are even some that were never topped. And so I just think that this is a good idea. I think that 1 extra cent will go a long way.
Thank you, Ms. Gilliard. Ms. Cleet, are you ready now?
Yes. So I do want to say that I am in support and just the edification of our public who may be asking some questions in the chat now.
Mr. Khalid, you're still hard to hear.
Still hard to hear. Let me work on it. Let someone else go.
Okay.
Can I speak?
I was
Oh, we're talking. Let's get. Is that Miss? Who's speaking?
Miss Rowell and then
Ms. Rowell, go ahead.
I also support 3C. I think we all knew when we took over the city that there were a lot of needs in terms of infrastructure. I would just ask that our public works department begin to at least think about bringing us some kind of map that shows how the initial round of T-SPLOS was invested so we can see it visually, as well as to take into consideration the plan that we approved, which was to develop a sidewalk plan. I know that work is underway. We voted on that probably about a month ago. I don't know when it'll be done, but I hope all that'll be brought together so we can have a comprehensive look when we develop this T-SPLOS list. But I too support 3C. I think everybody's comments have been absolutely on point, and I'm looking forward to us having this conversation.
Okay, Ms. Gomes, I think you wanted to talk.
And Councilwoman Rowell and Councilwoman Gilliard both hit it on the nail. I think I'm definitely in support of option 3C. My concern is how is that money being distributed? So bringing a look plan back to the council, because, you know, Ms. Gilliard made some very valid points. There are a lot of subdivisions in our communities that are not paved or don't have that top coat. So the thing that I've been working with Public Works is trying to figure out where can we get the funding from these T-SPLOS. So, but projects have been funded and not all projects that have been spread out equitably. So definitely a look back and a comprehensive look for all of the projects of what we need and making it a priority to address. So I'm in definitely support of 3C.
Ms. Gomes, the process allows for that.
Okay.
You know that. Mr. Khalid, let's see if we can hear you a little better now.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I am in support. I just want to, for the education of the public, just make sure that everyone understands that this is a tax that currently already exists. It's a sales tax, and we would just be re-upping the tax for beginning in March. While I am definitely in support of mass transit and would be inclined to support option 3C, I do want to be thinking holistically about our budget as a city. And I have a question. I'm not sure if Mr. Clark or if there's anyone that can answer it, but we have been working on a parks master plan, and all signs point to the possibility of using a SPLOS to fund parks projects. And so my first question would be, can two SPLOS run concurrently? Or if we re-up this SPLOS, would that preclude us from doing a park SPLOS for 5 years or for the next 5 years?
Mr. Clark, would you answer that question? I think we know the answer, but go ahead.
Yeah, I certainly can, Councilman. The T-SPLOS won't allow you to use the funds to develop your parks, but you can use funds to develop paths within your park system. So that would be allowed. If you decided to go with a separate SPLOS that focuses on parks, that can be done concurrently with T-SPLOS. In fact, there's a number of communities throughout the state that do have T-SPLOS collections that run concurrently with other SPLOS. So it should not impact ability by the state for the city.
And just to clarify, let's assume, because the session is, we're already in session, we're still waiting for the master plan to be finished and for them to bring this recommendation. I think that Mr. Perez, the consultant, and Mr. Phillips are both on the line. But if this were not to make it on, if the if the second Parks Plus was not to make it on the ballot this November, could we add it next November and then start that additional 0.25%, for example, in 2023? Or once one, my question is really, once one has started, I know that we can do two at the same time, but once one is started, can we come back the next year and add another? And the reason that I'm bringing this up is because if that is something that we need, in addition to the trails for, trails leading to our parks themselves need significant improvements. One of our districts doesn't have a park, and I would be more inclined to use option 3B, the 0.75% with transit, so that we could later add another 0.25% to fix our parks. We have a URA that is addressing some issues in our parks, but they're really addressing the most dire maintenance issues in our parks and not really the development of this master plan system that we're envisioning.
Mr. Clark? Mr. Clark?
Yes.
I think you have enumerated the fact that what can be used of the SPOS money to as far as our parks in terms of trails and things of that nature. I want us to make it clear that I don't want to intermingle two different things. This is about transportation, and yes, some of the funds that we use, and this can be used in terms of infrastructure to our parks. So I just want to make that clear. And we have another phase of this I want to get to. So at this time, I want to acknowledge Ms. Willis, who's in the queue, and then we need to go to another phase of this so you'll have a complete understanding of where we're going when I go back to the meeting.
Well, if I could just conclude, Mayor, I would say that my recommendation, because I know that there may be another SPLOS that is needed, my recommendation would actually be for 3B.
Okay, thank you so much. Ms. Willis?
Yeah, for a point of clarification and education to residents, this T-SPLOS, as you stated, is for transportation projects. Mr. Clark, the tax for this T-SPLOS is collected with our county taxes, correct? Or is this into our municipal tax?
No, it's a sales tax only. So it's collected monthly by the State Department of Revenue and then sent to each individual city approximately 30 days after the funds have been collected. Okay, so parks is more of a municipal issue. It has nothing to do with transportation.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I would like to ask the council, what is the general consensus out of 3A, 3B, and 3C? And I guess we can do it by roll call real fast, Mr. Clerk.
Okay. Councilmember Rao?
3C.
Councilmember Gums?
I'm in support of 3C.
Councilmember Willis?
3C.
Councilmember Gilliard?
3C.
Councilmember Reeves?
3C.
Councilmember Khalid? Councilmember Baker?
Abstain.
Councilmember Khalid?
3B.
3B. Mr. Mayor, there were 5 votes for 3C, 1 for 3B, 1 abstention.
Now, Mr. Who am I speaking with? From the county, let's talk about the actual vote that we as mayors would have to contend with in terms of with not having any transit as opposed to having transit, and the percentage of vote that we need to get that done.
So we basically need a total of 60% of all of the mayors that represent the area by population to agree with what the referendum is going to cover. So
that's without transit, correct?
well, with or without transit, it doesn't matter. The IGA that we're going to have to enter into as a county with the cities have to have at least 60% approval of the various cities based on their population.
Okay. All right. So we have to have 60% of all the 14 mayors to have this as a referendum. I will go in as representative of our city, telling everybody that we are in favor of 3C, which is a 1% T-splosh with transit. Okay. And 60%, let me see how many, what is 60% to have, Mr. Clark? What we need?
I mean, basically, you can have 3 cities not agreeing with the process and still have it pass.
I got you. We have 8 cities in South Fulton. We have 6 cities in North Fulton. So I would ask you to do the math. Thank you, Mr. Clark. I will come back to the meeting and report what our council is in favor of. And then after that meeting, I'll make sure my council understands where we are as the mayors of Fulton County, okay? Thank you so much. Okay, Mr. Clerk?
Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, and members of council, that completes all agenda items. The next item is executive session, if it is the will of the council.
And we take 15-minute break and then come back to executive session. Is that
I move that we take a 15-minute break and then go into executive session for personnel, litigation, and real estate.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Let's vote, please.
Yes.
Councilmember Rao.
Yes.
Councilmember Gomes.
Yes.
Councilmember Willis.
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard.
Yes.
Councilmember Reeves.
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid.
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
That motion was approved, and the executive session will begin at 11:47.
11:47. I'll see you all then.
Present.
Councilmember Gomes.
Present.
Councilmember Willis. Councilmember Gilliard.
Here.
Present.
Thank you. Councilmember Reeves.
Accounted for.
Councilmember Khalid. And Councilmember Baker.
President,
Someone give us a motion to get back in the regular session.
I make a motion to adjourn executive session.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion? Okay, that passes.
I got to carry the vote.
Carry the vote, I'm sorry.
Okay. Councilmember Rao.
Yes.
Councilmember Gomes.
Yes.
Councilmember Willis.
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard.
Yes.
Councilmember Reeves.
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid.
Yes.
And Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
We reconvened at 2:01.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, was there any matters that need to be handled out of executive session?
Yes, I believe there is one item regarding the city manager.
Okay.
I move
Go ahead, Mr.
I move that we authorize the city attorney and mayor to amend and execute the proposed city manager contract to allow 4% additional retirement contribution and prevailing party language up to $25,000.
Second.
Properly moved and second. In discussion? Hearing none. Vote please, Mr. Clerk.
Roll call vote. Councilmember Rao.
Yes.
Councilmember Gomes.
Yes.
Councilmember Willis.
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard.
Yes.
Councilmember Reeves.
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid. You're muted.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Baker,
Aye.
that item was approved unanimously.
Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Properly moved and second, any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Roll call vote to adjourn. Councilmember Rao,
Yes.
Councilmember Gums,
Yes.
Councilmember Willis,
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard,
Yes.
Councilmember Reeves,
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
We are adjourned at 2:02 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you all so much.